Hello. You are watching the channel, What Happens If, and today we will have an unusual topic. Imagine that the sun goes out in an instant. Now I'm going to tell you what happens when the sun goes out. If the sun goes out suddenly, ancient peoples revered the sun as the supreme deity, the source of life on earth. Indeed, thanks to him, a temperature comfortable for the existence of plant, animal and human life is maintained on our planet. It all depends on the sun. Hence the question arises, can life on the planet exist without a star, and if so, how long are the living will organisms be able to survive in new conditions unsuitable for this? If the sun suddenly goes out, then people will not know about it immediately, but only after 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The thing is that this is how long it will take the rays of light to reach our planet. After this short period of time, the planet will plunge into chaos, and this will be the beginning of the collapse of life on planet Earth, of course, because there will be a hopeless night on Earth. People will not be able to see even the moon, because the Earth's satellite itself does not produce light, but only reflects the sun's rays, like other cosmic objects. After that, the Earth will start to cool down quickly. The lack of light will stop the process of photosynthesis. And after a few days without sunlight, many plants will die. Only large trees will be able to survive for more than a few years, thanks to the large reserves of glucose that plants produce during photosynthesis and slow metabolism. The average temperature of the Earth will drop to -20 degrees Celsius, and in a year it will be about -70-80 degrees. The water basins of the planet will begin to freeze, with time turning into ice at kilometer depths, after the death of plants from hunger and cold. Herbivorous animals will die. Many predators will remain without food. Only animals adapted to feeding on carrion will be provided with food for some time, but in the end, all living things will freeze or die of hunger. They will be able to hold out the longest. Microorganisms living deep underground and in areas of volcanic activity. Here they will be saved by the heat coming from the bowels of the planet. The ocean will be completely covered with ice and under a thick layer of ice on the ocean floor. Due to the internal heat of the Earth, the survival of living beings is also possible, especially in areas of underwater volcanoes, where molten magma will heat the environment. And what will happen to people in such a world? For humanity, life will not end instantly. People, even in the absence of sunlight, will be able to survive in deep bunkers or underwater cities using geothermal energy as heating. In Iceland, for example, they are already doing it now. Also, there will be the possibility of using nuclear energy. Plants can be grown, for example, under artificial lighting. Of course, not everyone will have enough space in such autonomous dwellings, but humanity will be able to exist in such conditions for several decades. Unfortunately, without plants on Earth, the oxygen content in the atmosphere will steadily decrease. There will be nothing to replenish the reserves of vitamin D, which is produced in the body under the influence of sunlight, so a person will be able to survive for a while, but in the end he will still be doomed. In the end, the only ones who will be able to continue life on Earth will be anaerobic bacteria. These are microorganisms that develop regardless of the presence of oxygen in the nutrient medium. What will happen if the sun disappears completely? Although this scenario is not real, let's imagine how the fate of the Earth and all mankind will develop. If the sun completely disappears, and the solar system in this case, the consequences for the inhabitants of the planet will be even worse. In addition to the fact that the sun gives the Earth light and heat, it also keeps it in its orbit. The planets and their satellites, and in general all the bodies in the solar system, move along their trajectories. As soon as the sun disappears, we will find out about it later, the same 8 minutes and 20 seconds, because, according to Einstein's theory, gravitational waves propagate at the same speed as light. After the attraction of the sun disappears, the Earth, like other objects of the solar system, will go on an unpredictable journey through the vastness of the universe, and at any moment in the vast cosmos the planet may collide with another cosmic body. In this case, the chances of preserving life on Earth are critically negligible. Nevertheless, the age of our luminary is about 5 billion years. This is about half of his lifespan, so that we are not in danger of being left without the sun in the near and not very future. The sun is a young star in adulthood, which has lived almost half of its 10 billion years of existence and will shine for at least another 4.5 billion years, our star emits a constant stream of energy, and one day the hydrogen in its bowels will burn out, transferring the mechanism of operation to helium and other heavier elements, and then the energy balance inside the sun will change dramatically and it will begin to transform. In fact, it will be extremely beautiful and an unthinkable sight. The sun will expand to the orbit of Venus, to become a red giant. It will swallow the nearest planets, burn the Earth, and, having had enough, will begin to cool down, turning into a dead white dwarf with a radius of a miserable 10 kilometers, and the remains of Mars, Jupiter and Saturn will rotate around it. The main process, according to scientists, will take place no earlier than in about 5 billion years. Today the Sun is, in its main phase, maintaining constant thermonuclear reactions, and in this regard we have nothing to worry about. How can we predict the apocalypse? Solar coronal mass ejections are a large eruption of gas and strong, magnetic solar material. A powerful avalanche of energy is thrown into space, and if it moves in the direction of the Earth, it can cause irreparable damage to the satellite and navigation. And now, scientists from NASA space centers are developing a new way to predict space storms with an accuracy of up to 24 hours. A possible method may sometime in the future save our planet from disaster if the sun is set up by a real apocalypse scenario. Highly powerful and oversaturated energy, solar wind is capable of causing an explosion of transformers of electrical networks. As is well known, all our modern technologies are tied to electricity, so they will stop working. But of course, without electricity, cities will turn into vast areas of darkness. Without night street lighting, modern systems warn of a large storm of this type with an interval of 30 to 60 minutes. This time is clearly not enough to take protective measures against the threat of a huge cloud of solar, high-energy material. However, a new way to predict solar emissions can give time to protect our planet in one way or another, or at least minimize the risks of possible consequences. Conclusion: as we have already said, the sun cannot disappear just like that or go out in an instant, and by that time, if humanity manages to somehow survive, they will face completely different problems. What do you think? How many more years will humanity exist? Share your opinion in the comments, and also, if you liked it and you want more of these videos, be sure to put like, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to not miss new releases.